10 Incredible Countries Revealed, the unexpected truth that will change your life forever. The room fell silent as the mayor announced a cultural exchange program that promised to change lives. For the community of Maplewood, it was a glimmer of hope amid the daily grind. Everyone dreamed of a better life, a life beyond the troubles of bills and struggles. But for Alex, a hard-working mechanic, it struck a different chord. At 38, Alex spent his days knee-deep in grease and car parts, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on his shoulders. Since losing his wife 2 years ago, the echoes of her laughter haunted their quiet home. His daughter, Mia, was often hidden behind her screen, consumed by her dreams of escape, painting visions of a better tomorrow beyond their small town walls. Each Friday night under the stadium lights, the community gathered for football, laughter mingling with the scent of homemade pies from the bake sale across the street. But for Alex, each cheer felt like a reminder of missed moments with Mia. The camaraderie, the unity they shared it, yet felt worlds apart. This town stood firmly in the realm of good-natured hustle, a shared existence of old cars and workshop stories. Veterans, like old Tom from the garage, shared tales of sacrifice. "You work hard, Alex," he would say, "but remember, it's not just about fixing vehicles, it's about fixing hearts too." That sentiment dug deep, and Alex often found himself teetering on the edge of despair, the enormity of his loss weighing heavy like tire rims. That in the warm, crowded town hall, excitement buzzed as the mayor revealed the chance to travel across 10 incredible countries. Alex's heart raced. The thought struck him, could this be the escape they needed? But then doubt crept in. How could he embark on such a journey, leaving Mia behind? She needed him now more than ever. As whispers of encouragement rippled through the crowd, people rallied around him. The local barber Cliff clapped him on the back. "This is your shot, buddy. Don't let it pass." Even Mia's teachers, who had witnessed the distance growing between father and daughter, chimed in, urging him to consider it. The community spirit enveloped him, filling the cracks of his broken heart with hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Months of travel later, Alex found himself navigating bustling markets in Marrakesh, stooping beside artisans crafting beauty from raw materials. He touched their stories, felt their pride, and learned of family ties that surpassed borders. In another country, in a quiet village, he experienced the warmth of shared meals and laughter that transcended language, stirring a long-buried longing within him. Yet, even amidst these revelations, the anticipation of returning home loomed large. Would Mia understand the man he had become? Could he bridge the chasm her dreams had created? Tension brewed as he approached their home, the door creaking like a whisper of what once was. Would he find the strength to reconnect, or would the distance he felt only deepen? As he stood on the threshold, the question echoed louder than ever. Could he unravel the tapestry of their shared grief and weave in threads of understanding and hope? The door opened slowly, revealing the dimly lit hallway of their home. Alex stepped inside, the familiar scent of old wood and lingering spices from Mia's cooking still floating in the air. As he took in the space, his heart thundered, each beat echoing memories of laughter and love that felt so far away now. "Mia," he called softly, the name lingering in the silence. He turned to the walls lined with pictures of their happier days. There was one from a summer trip, the three of them grinning widely, sun-kissed and carefree. A wave of emotion crashed over him, a mixture of sorrow for what was lost and hope for what could be. From the corner of his eye, he spotted Mia's door slightly ajar. He hesitated, remembering the isolation that had grown between them. Would she welcome him back with open arms, or was he a stranger now in her world filled with dreams beyond Maplewood? Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open and stepped inside. Mia sat at her desk, her back to him, engrossed in her sketchbook. The room was a sanctuary of colors and designs, Everywhere he looked, brilliant illustrations of far-off places burst forth. He had missed so much, and the realization sent a sharp pang through him. "Mia," he finally said, his voice barely a whisper. She turned slowly, her expression shifting from surprise to uncertainty. "Dad?" Her brow furrowed, and for a moment, Alex felt like he had traveled back in time, standing before her as a child might before a parent. "I'm back," he said, forcing a smile even though the weight of their distance hung heavily over them. I've missed you." Mia's gaze dropped to her sketchbook, her fingers tracing the outline of a mountain scene that reminded him of the landscapes he had seen during his travels. "You were gone a long time." The hurt dripped from her tone, thinly veiled with passive disdain. "I know. But I learned so much, Mia. About people, about life. I wish you could have seen it." There was a spark in his heart, a yearning to share with her everything that had transformed him. Each memory of shared meals, vibrant laughter, and the touch of humanity beyond their small town whispered to him, begging to be expressed. "I've heard about it," she muttered. "From you, or from what you posted online." He felt a lump rise in his throat. "You didn't think I needed you with me? I thought about you every day. I wanted you to see it all." Mia finally met his gaze, her eyes a storm of confusion and anger. "You don't get it, do you? You left me behind, Dad. You chose to escape." Her words pierced him. How had he thought this journey would fill the void? He realized now that the journey to mend his own heart could only go so far in repairing theirs. "Mia," he hesitated, searching for the right words. "I went to find myself, but I see now that I need to find us, too." For a brief moment, silence enveloped them, filled with unspoken words and sorrow. Alex reached for her sketchbook, turning it to reveal a series of drawings that showcased not just distant lands but also vast oceans, deserts, and unscaled mountains. "I want to explore those together," he said. "I want to understand your dreams and help you chase them." Mia shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. "You think it's that simple? Time doesn't just disappear, Dad." "No, it doesn't," he admitted. "But I'm here now. And I'll fight for us if you let me." Mia looked at him, her expression a mixture of hope and skepticism. The silence felt heavy again, but this time, it was punctuated by the possibility of dialogue, of healing. With the weight of unresolved emotions hanging between them, Alex knew they were on the verge of an emotional breakthrough. But would Mia find it in her heart to let him back in? The moment hung in the air like a promise, and he was ready to embrace whatever came next. Yet, just when he thought they might bridge the gap between their hearts, another voice chimed in from outside, shattering their moment. "Hey, Mia. Is your dad home?" It was Jake, her best friend, calling from the front porch, filled with energy and curiosity. Alex glanced at Mia, both bewildered and hopeful. Would the unexpected arrival distract them from the conversation they desperately needed? Or could it become an opportunity for connection? Could this moment mark a new beginning, or would life's interruptions pull them apart all over again? Mia's expression shifted, caught between relief and frustration. "Just a second," she called out, her voice rising slightly. She looked back at Alex, the conflict in her eyes evident. A part of her felt grateful for the distraction, yet another part wanted to clutch the moment between them like a precious gem. "Do you want me to get rid of him?" Alex asked, half joking, trying to lighten the heavy atmosphere. "No, it's fine," she said, wiping away a stray tear quickly, as if to hide her vulnerability. I'll let him in." With that, she stood, her body tense but her movements fluid. He watched her walk to the door, the way she carried herself now so different from the little girl who would run to him with arms wide open. There was a sharp ache in his chest, amplified by the knowledge that he had a part in this transition. Alex's heart raced as the door creaked open. Jake bounded into the room, a whirlwind of laughter and excitement, completely oblivious to the weight hanging between father and daughter. "Hey, Mia," he said, his eyes widening as he spotted Alex. Whoa, you're back. This is going to be awesome. For a split second, Alex felt a faint smile spread across his face, but Mia's reaction was immediate. She stiffened, clearly caught off guard by Jake's enthusiasm. There was a moment of flicker of uncertainty as she glanced back at Alex. Yeah, it's been a while, Mia replied slowly, her voice strained. Just got back today, Alex added, sensing that Jake's energy could fuel the moment, rather than derail it. Nice. We should totally hang out. You can tell me about all the crazy stuff you saw, Jake said, barely tapping the brakes on his verbal excitement. I can't wait to hear about the pyramids and those mountains you posted about. You mean my drawings? Mia interjected, a spark of pride flashing through her facade. They're just what I imagined. They're amazing, Jake insisted, looking from Mia to Alex. Seriously, you should see them. She's going to be a famous artist one day. Mia's cheeks flushed a deep shade of red, an instant contrast to the guarded expression she had worn just moments before. Alex felt a surge of warmth spread through him at Jake's enthusiastic endorsement. Maybe Jake's presence could serve as a bridge between the tension and their shared history. Maybe you could recreate some of those mountains for me. In real life, Alex said, his eyes fixed on Mia. I'd love to experience them with you. Mia's gaze met his, and for a fleeting moment, the walls around her heart seemed to soften. But then Jake's voice broke the silence again. What are you going to do first now that you're back? Let's plan a reunion or something. The idea sparked an emotion in Mia, something both hopeful and foreboding. Yeah, maybe we could. Or we could have a road trip. Jake exclaimed, his excitement bubbling over. It could be a healing journey for all of us. Alex felt a small knot of anxiety within him at the words healing journey. He knew it wouldn't be that simple. But the thought of spending time with Mia, her art, her dreams did offer him a sliver of hope. As Mia paused, weighing her words, Alex could see the conflict within her. Did she want to embrace this idea of connection, or was she still leery of the risks involved? Let's talk about it later, she said finally, her voice firm but gentle, steering the conversation away from its subject. I want to finish some things first. Jake nodded, clearly unfazed. He started to chat about something silly he'd seen at school, and Alex seized the chance to observe, to become a part of this moment between them, even just as a silent witness, but in the depths of his heart, he knew that this was only the beginning. They had barely scratched the surface of their feelings. When would they dig deeper? When would they face the truth that had been unspoken for too long? The room buzzed with Jake's excitement, yet a heavy stillness loomed behind it all. Alex caught Mia's eye again, and they shared a moment, a silent agreement that more was to come, that the connection they both longed for was still shadowed beneath the surface of their lives. As Jake's voice filled the room, a question echoed in Alex's mind, would this time be different? Could they really brave the journey toward healing together, or was the distance between them simply too wide to cross? And just then, the phone buzzed on Mia's desk, breaking through his thoughts. She reached for it, glancing at the screen, her expression shifting to one of surprise and concern. It's Mom. The word hung in the air, drawing Alex's attention like a magnet. What could this message hold? Was it a call for support or a reminder of their past? He felt a sense of urgency build within him, excited but nervous about what Mia would say next. Mia's heart raced as she read the message, her fingers scrolling quickly through the text. It wasn't the warm embrace she hoped for or an encouraging word, it was a simple yet alarming notification. Emergency. Need to talk. The air grew heavy with tension. She glanced back at Alex, her eyes wide and uncertain, feeling exposed in a way she hadn't anticipated. Jake, caught up in his own world, continued chatting about school and friends, his carefree tone contrasting the storm brewing in Mia's mind. What's wrong? Alex asked softly, his gaze steady on her, the worries she felt reflected in his eyes. Mia shook her head, swallowing hard. It's just. Mom needs to talk about some stuff. Is everything okay? He pressed, his concern deepening. Her breath hitched at the thought. I don't know. I thought things were finally settling down. She could feel the weight of the past pulling at her, threatening to drag her back into a place she fought so hard to escape. Jake continued prattling on, oblivious to the silent exchange. And then there's this math test tomorrow. Can you believe it? I've studied all night. Mia forced a smile for Jake's sake, a flicker of her old self lighting up for a moment. Yeah, you'll ace it. But even as she said the words, her mind was elsewhere. The tension from her phone gnawed at her. How would she face her mother's worries when her own heart felt so unsteady? Maybe we should take a break from the chatter and figure out what is going on, okay? Alex suggested gently, taking the edge off Mia's anxiety. The familiarity in his voice sparked a longing for comfort she didn't fully understand. Yeah, maybe, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake, sensing the shift, finally slowed his output. Are we okay? I thought we were planning something fun. He looked back and forth between them, realization dawning as he picked up on their tension. We will, Jay. Just need a moment, Mia said, her eyes sweeping back to Alex. A question loomed between them, how to bridge the gap opening with each ticking moment. As she glanced back at her phone, she let her breath out slowly. I should call her. A knot of fear tightened in her stomach. What if it was bad news? What if the discussion brought to light secrets best left buried? Do you want me to stay? He offered, his tone supportive. Yes. I mean, if you're okay with it. The words slipped out, a hint of vulnerability breaking through her defenses. Always, he said, and something about the way he said it felt like a rope thrown out to her in a turbulent sea. Jake's face shifted to understanding as he registered the gravity of the situation. I can, go to the kitchen and grab some snacks, he said, trying to lighten the mood again. Thanks, buddy. We'll figure this out, Mia replied, grateful for his thoughtfulness. Once Jake disappeared around the corner, Mia took a deep breath, focusing on Alex. The air was thick with unspoken words as she rummaged for the courage to make the call. What do I say? She murmured, feeling small. You just, tell her how you feel. It's okay to be honest, he replied, his voice steady. With a nod, Mia dialed the number. As the phone rang, her heart raced, a mixture of anticipation and dread swirling in her chest. What would she hear on the other end? Would they take a step forward or fall back into the old patterns that haunted them? Finally, the call connected. Her mother's voice reverberated through the phone, a blend of familiarity and fear. Mia? Are you all right? The concern in her mother's voice cut deeper than a knife. Can we talk about it? Mia asked, glancing at Alex, who remained rooted beside her, projecting calm even as her own storm brewed. The reply from her mother held a gravity that would change everything, even the way Mia viewed her own reality. Yes, we need to. Mia's heart raced faster, curiosity and trepidation intertwining in an anxious embrace. What truth awaited her? Would it bridge the distance or pull them all further apart? As she listened, ready to confront whatever lay ahead, Alex squeezed her hand, grounding her. Together, they would face this moment. But in the back of her mind, another thought flickered. Would uncovering this truth finally set her free, or would it chain her to the past once more? Mia held her breath, trying to steady the whirlwind of emotions that threatened to consume her. The silence hung heavy on the line after her mother's response. Now, the weight of unspoken words felt more palpable than ever, pressing against her chest. Mom. She finally managed, her voice tinged with uncertainty. What is it? Her mother hesitated, a quiver in her tone echoing through the speaker. Mia could picture her, clenched tightly on the other end, caught between revealing a truth and fearing the consequences of doing so. We need to talk about your father. The mention of her father was like opening a floodgate. Memories flooded in, an onslaught of past pain, experiences she had buried deep within herself. What about him? Mia asked, her heart now pounding with a mixture of anger and curiosity. Was he resurfacing to upset their lives again? Mia, he wants to see you. The words felt monumental, heavy with the potential to unravel the fragile stability they had built. Catching her breath, Mia squeezed Alex's hand tighter as if begging him to absorb her tension. I don't want to see him. You know that. I know, sweetheart. But things have changed. Yes, trying to make amends. I think you should at least hear him out. Her mother's voice cracked slightly, betraying the years of disappointment and hurt that still lingered. The world outside blurred as Mia tried to focus. Time seemed to warp, a warping reality where her father's ghost haunted her thoughts and dreams. What kind of amends? After everything, Mia, please, her mother interrupted, a plea wrapped in desperation. Give him a chance. For once, let him explain himself. Mia's heart twisted painfully in her chest. The painful memories screamed through her, each one a reminder of betrayal and loss. Could she really open that door again? I can't, she said, her voice wavering. It's too late. Mia, it's never too late to confront the past. Her mother's voice softened, embodying a wisdom built from years of scars. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve closure. What does that even mean? Mia shot back, the hurt bubbling to the surface. Closure. How can I feel closure when he spent years abandoning us? I don't know, but I think listening might unlock something you didn't realize you needed. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Could it be true? To confront her father. The man whose absence felt like a wound that never healed. Her world balance tipped, teetering between the familiar comfort of what she knew and the terrifying unknown. Alex remained close, silent but present. His grip was reassuring, reminding her she wasn't alone in this moment. Can I think about it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Of course. There was a hint of relief in her mother's response, as if she had been bracing for a fight. Just know I'm here for you, Mia. Whatever you decide. The call ended, a heavy silence settling in the space where his voice had filled her. The enormity of the conversation hung between them like a weight. What did she say? Alex asked gently, his eyes searching hers for answers. Mia hesitated, uncertainty and fear coursing through her. He wants to see me. To talk. His expression shifted, a combination of concern and support. What do you want to do? She stared blankly at the floor, the weight of decision pressing down on her. Did she have the strength to face him? What would it mean for her family, for her own peace? The questions spiraled deeper, each one leading to darker places. I don't know, she admitted, finding her voice faint and fragile. Alex moved closer, the warmth radiating from him felt like a lifeline. Whatever you choose, you won't be alone. Mia wanted to lean into that promise, to believe it wholeheartedly. But doubt gnawed at her as well. She felt driven toward an unfamiliar crossroads, one that could lead to a painful past or the possibility of healing she had not dared to hope for. As the moment stretched, she glanced back at her phone, thinking of the future. Could she actually confront her father? The thought lingered uncomfortably. Do you think he has changed? She asked, the question hanging delicately in the air between them. I hope he has. You deserve to find out all of it. Alex said, his voice steady. But just as hope flickered inside her, doubt pushed against it. What if they uncovered more hurt than healing? With a heavy heart, Mia knew she had to decide soon. The past was beckoning her, ready to expose whatever truth lay beneath the surface. But what if it tore apart everything she thought was settling into place? In that moment of doubt, a familiar fear seeped through her. Would she find the strength to face her father, or would she find herself overwhelmed once again? As she leaned into the silence left by her mother's call, a new storm brewed inside her. She had a path to choose, but which way would lead her to freedom or to more chains? Mia knew one thing for sure, she was standing at the edge of a deeper decision than she ever thought she'd have to make. Mia found herself pacing the small living room, her mind a tangled mess of memories and fears. The walls seemed to close in on her, trapping her thoughts like a storm in an open field. Alex remained seated, watching her with those steady eyes that always made her feel safer. Yet, even his presence couldn't calm her growing anxiety. What if he hasn't changed? She muttered, shaking her head as if trying to physically rid herself of the thought. What if I end up regretting this whole thing? Hey, Alex coaxed gently, his voice cutting through the chaos. You don't know unless you try. Talk to him, see what he has to say. You're stronger than you think. Stronger? How could she feel strong when a single phone call sent her heart racing and her mind spiraling? Images rattled through her like a film reel, the night spent crying herself to sleep, the hollow holidays when his absence was a presence that loomed heavily over their little family. Each memory cut deeper than the last. Do you think I owe him something? She questioned, stopping to face Alex, her face a storm of emotions. I didn't even ask for him to be a part of my life. I wanted him to be there when I was little, to support us. No, Mia. You don't owe him a thing, Alex replied, his voice firm yet kind. But maybe hearing him out could bring you some peace. It's about you, not him. The idea of peace felt foreign, like an unattainable dream. There was a lump in her throat, tightening with recollections of love and hurt. What if I just make things worse? Worse how? He pressed. By confronting him? Or by leaving things the way they are? You've carried this weight for so long. Mia slumped into the couch, hiding her face in her hands. The struggle between her heart and mind was tearing her apart. Moments passed, each one filled with the tension of unshed tears and clashing emotions. Eventually, she lifted her head to see Alex watching her with unwavering support. If I do this, things might get messy. He moved in closer, reaching out to take her hands. The warmth of his grip seeped into her, reminding her she wasn't alone in this mess. Messy can lead to understanding, he said softly. It can open doors. Suddenly, a flicker of courage ignited inside her, pushing against the darkness that clung to her. I just wish I had some idea of how he's feeling. What if he's just doing this for himself? You can find that out when you see him. You're not a pawn in his game anymore, Mia. You're the one holding the cards now, Alex encouraged, his eyes bright with confidence. The thought of finally having some control sparked something in her, a small light illuminating the shadowy corners of her mind. Okay, she finally spoke, her voice stronger than she felt. I'll talk to him. The decision settled around her like a comforting blanket, but beneath it remained that familiar tingling sense of dread. What would he say? Could she bear to hear him speak? What if old wounds reopened, bleeding into her present life? I'll talk to him, she repeated, almost hypnotically, as if saying it aloud would solidify this step into action. What do you want from him? Alex asked, his gaze steady. To know why, she breathed out. Why he left, why he wants to see me now, and if he's really changed. In that moment, as she prepared to step onto a path filled with uncertainty, the enormity of her decision settled on her shoulders. It was a daunting but necessary journey. As Alex squeezed her hand, she felt a rush of clarity. Who was she if not a product of her experiences? This was the chance to not only confront her father but also to reclaim her narrative. The idea of freedom lingered at the edge of her thoughts, but even more tantalizing was the feeling of closing a chapter that had hung over her for far too long. But just as that glimmer of hope took hold, a shiver of dread coursed through her. What truths awaited her? Would they bring healing or open deeper wounds? Mia stared at the window, where the late afternoon sun painted the sky in hues of gold and orange. The horizon held promise. But could she seize it? With a shaky breath, she knew she was on the brink of something powerful. Was she ready for the revelations that lay ahead? The question lingered in her heart. What would she discover when she finally saw her father face to face? Mia's heart raced as she stared out the window, watching the sun dip closer to the horizon. The world outside carried on, cars rushed past, children laughed in the distance, and life seemed blissfully unaware of the storm brewing inside her. Alex's gentle voice broke through her fog of thoughts again. "You've got this, Mia. Just take a deep breath." She inhaled, trying to still the flutter of nerves that twisted her stomach into knots. But the truth was simple: she had been preparing for this moment for years, and yet it felt surreal. After all this time, the thought of facing the man who had caused her so much pain was both terrifying and exhilarating. "What if I just want to run away?" she admitted, turning back toward Alex, her gaze pleading. "What if seeing him only brings back the pain?" "Then you'll know," he said, squeezing her hands tighter, grounding her. "You'll know what you need to heal and move forward." Mia looked into his eyes, those familiar pools of understanding. Somehow, within them, she found a flicker of reassurance. But a heavy weight still anchored her thoughts as she imagined that first meeting. Would he see the hurt that remained etched on her heart? Would he even care? "Okay, just focus on what you want from this," Alex reminded her. "You need closure, right?" "Closure," she echoed, the word hanging in the air like a delicate promise. But closure didn't come easily. It came wrapped in uncomfortable truths and heart-wrenching conversations. She had to prepare herself for the truth, whatever form it took. As the shadows in the room lengthened, Mia's thoughts drifted back to her childhood, to times when she would gaze longingly out the same window, hoping for a glimpse of a father she barely knew. She remembered the void that his absence created, a void she had long tried to fill with love from her mother, friends, and now Alex. That love was steady, yet the desire to understand her father burned just as fiercely. "How do I ask the right questions?" she wondered aloud. "What if I freeze up? What if I get too emotional?" "You won't. Just stay true to yourself," Alex encouraged. His words resonated deep within her. "Speak from your heart. Remember, this is about you. Your journey." With that, Mia nodded, feeling strength ebb back into her veins. It was her story to tell, her emotions to express. As the golden light spilled further across the room, she felt a deep-rooted fire awaken inside her. She could almost visualize the path she needed to take, paved with words that had been unsaid for far too long. The clock ticked ominously, each second whispering of the impending confrontation. She glanced at Alex, who watched her with an expression that was warm and full of support. "Will you come with me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Of course," he said without hesitation. "Every step of the way." With his reassurance, a wave of calm washed over her. For the first time, she felt that perhaps it was possible to step into her past with an open heart. She just needed to brave the emotional storm to reach the calm waiting at the other end. But as they prepared to leave, her phone buzzed with an incoming message. Mia's breath hitched as she glanced at the screen. It was a text from her father, confirming their meeting time and location. Just seeing his name sent a shiver down her spine. "What does it say?" Alex asked, sensing her tension. "It's about our meeting," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Are you ready for this?" he prompted, his face serious, yet supportive. Mia took another deep breath and balled her fists, feeling the weight of the moment sink in. I guess we're going to find out, but would she be able to handle whatever revelation awaited her? As she pressed her lips together to stop the storm of emotions rising, a question echoed in her mind: what would happen when she finally opened that door into her past? The moment of truth was just around the corner. Mia's heart thudded against her ribcage as she and Alex stepped out into the evening air. The street was alive, bustling with energy that felt foreign compared to her internal storm. A mixture of anticipation and dread swirled inside her. They walked in silence, the chatter of the world around them growing faint, drowned out by the relentless beat of her heart. When they reached the café, the familiar smell of brewing coffee and baked goods wafted through the air, momentarily distracting her. It was the same café where she had spent hours as a kid, wishing he would walk through the door. Now that dream was about to collide with reality. "Let us just breathe a moment," Alex suggested, anchoring her with a steady gaze. We'll go in when you're ready. Right. Ready, she murmured. But the word felt hollow, swallowed by her swirling thoughts. She fidgeted with the hem of her shirt, the nerves making her fingers twitch. Hey. Alex's voice cut through her haze, drawing her focus. You know you don't have to do this if you're not sure. I'm here for you, no matter what. His words felt like a lifeline, but her drive kept pulling her forward. No. I have to know. With a deep breath, she pushed the door open, the soft chime of a bell resonating above them. The warmth enveloped her, but it contrasted with the chill pooling in her stomach. She scanned the small café, spotting a man sitting alone at a corner table. Her father. He hadn't changed much, yet everything felt different. The years stretched between them like a chasm she had yet to cross. Mia, look. Alex's voice was soft, but Mia's gaze was locked on the man who bore half her features. Want me to come with you? She shook her head, her throat tight. No. I need to do this alone. As she approached, her steps measured and heavy, her mind raced with questions, so many questions that threatened to unspool her composure. What would she say? How would he react? Did he even want to see her? Each step felt like bringing her closer to a precipice. Dad? The word slipped from her lips before she could second-guess herself. He looked up, surprise flaring in his eyes before quickly dimming into a mask she couldn't read. Mia. The sound of her name on his lips made her heart race, all those years of wondering and wishing wrapped in that single syllable. Can we talk? She asked, her voice steadier than she felt. He nodded slowly, gesturing to the empty chair across from him. Sure, sit. As she took her seat, the air thickened with an unsaid tension. She sensed Alex standing just beyond the entrance, watching them closely, but Mia forced herself to focus on the man before her, the man who had created so many of her unanswered questions. What do you want to talk about? He asked, his eyes cautious as if putting up defenses. Everything. The word burst from her, filled with pent-up emotions. It was both a plea and a challenge. She couldn't afford to back down now, not when she finally had the chance to confront the past that haunted her. As the conversation unfolded, each exchange revealed pieces of their fractured relationship. But just as Mia began to lay her heart bare, a familiar trepidation clawed at her throat. Would the truth hurt more than the silence? Was she ready for whatever confession he held? Before she could gather her thoughts, his phone buzzed at the table, breaking the moment. Mia braced herself, feeling the air grow thick with uncertainty. What is that? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. He hesitated, glancing at the screen. It's urgent. Urgent. The word hung in the air, heavy with implications. Mia watched as confusion clouded his expression, a pit beginning to form in her stomach. What do you mean, urgent? She pressed, the question bubbling up unbidden. Her father's gaze met hers, a storm brewing behind his eyes. This isn't the time he started, his voice faltering, but Mia felt the ground shift beneath her. What if they were about to cross a line she couldn't return from? What if the urgency meant the truth would shatter everything she was beginning to understand? Please. Just. Tell me the truth, she urged, her heart racing, and just like that, the door swung wide open, revealing the unknown. What was waiting on the other side? Mia could only hope it was worth the risk she was taking. His eyes darted back to the phone, then back to Mia. The room seemed to shrink around them, the chatter of other patrons fading into a dull hum. She could see the conflict on his face, a battle between urgency and the moment they were sharing, a battle that felt painfully one-sided. Mia, he started, his voice cautious, there are things you don't know, then tell me. She insisted, her voice sharper than she intended. Anger mixed with desperation bubbled in her throat. You want me to sit here and pretend nothing happened? You've been gone my whole life. Just tell me, what is so urgent? His fingers fidgeted with the phone as he seemed to struggle with his words. It's about your mother, he finally replied, the weight of the revelation hanging thick in the air. Mom? What do you mean? Her breath hitched. She had always been told little about the woman who was supposed to be her mother, just fragments and whispers, pieces of a puzzle that left her more confused than ever. He stammered, his gaze dropping to the table. I never wanted to hurt you. But there are things you need to understand about what happened, about why I left. The words resonated with a sharp sting. Mia's pulse thundered in her ears as she absorbed the implications. Did you leave because of her? Because of something she did? He nodded, each movement a heavy weight. Sort of. But it's complicated. I thought if I just stayed away, if I kept quiet, you'd be better off. She echoed, the bitterness lacing her words. You don't know what it was like. I wished every day that you would come back, that you'd choose us. And you just vanished. You think that was better? I know, and I'm sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I never meant for things to turn out this way. I thought I was protecting you. Mia's heart sank. Protecting me? Or protecting yourself? The anger boiled within her, mixed with sorrow and longing. She wanted him to understand her pain, to feel the years of absence and the ache it had caused. Mia, please, he whispered, his voice heavy with regret. Just listen. I can explain everything. You're not ready for what I have to say, not yet, no. She cut him off, the heat of her emotions igniting anew. You don't get to decide what I'm ready for. You made that choice when you walked away. The café buzzed around them, oblivious to the storm brewing at the corner table. The tension twisted in her gut, tightening with each moment they lingered there, suspended between them like an unbreakable thread. Then what do you want? He asked, frustration edging into his voice. What do you want to know? I want to know why I shouldn't hate you. The words echoed in the small space, raw and unfiltered. Why shouldn't I be angry that you're sitting here, pretending we can just put pieces back together? You owe me more than silence. She could hardly breathe as she finished her statement, the weight of it crashing over her. For so long, she had held back, wished for a moment like this but not knowing if it would be good or destructive. I know you're hurting, and I can't take that back, he said, sounding small. But what? Mia searched his eyes, trying to read the storm within them, hoping for something more than half-truths and regrets. Just then, the phone buzzed again, slicing through the moment. He glanced at it, his face going pale. It's my lawyer, he muttered, his voice trembling. Your lawyer? She repeated, her stomach dropping. Yes, I need to take this. Now. The word felt like a betrayal, like the last thread of connection fraying at her fingertips. Mia, I can't know, you walk away again. She shouted, pushing back her chair. The sound of it scraping against the floor screamed finality. He raised his hands in surrender, his expression pained. Just a moment. This is important. She wanted to scream that everything felt important, but the look in his eyes silenced her frustration. The very urgency he had mentioned moments before was threatening to pull him into another world, away from her. As he excused himself to take the call, Mia felt a mixture of disbelief and anger wash over her. What was more important than this moment? Why did it feel like she was always being put second? As she sat alone, her heart pounding in her chest, the weight of uncertainty filled the air. She glanced toward the door, wondering if this would all lead to another loss. She didn't have the answers. All she knew was the truth was lurking beneath the surface, and she had to uncover it before the door of opportunity slammed shut. Would he come back to finish what they had started? Would they ever piece together the shattered past? Mia clenched her fist, a determination rising within her. She would find out, even if it meant confronting the pain she had suppressed for so long. But what if the truth was even more shocking than any of her fears? Mia sat at the table, watching her father slip away to take the call. The air around her felt suffocating, thick with untold stories and lingering frustrations. Her heart raced, pulse echoing through her ears like a drum announcing the arrival of a storm. She could feel the weight of her emotions hanging heavy, a palpable tension in the café where laughter and chatter swirled around her, blissfully unaware of her struggle. The moment stretched painfully, and she focused on the way her fingers traced the edge of the table, grounding herself. This was her chance to reclaim her narrative, to confront the man who had let her down. But as she looked around, doubt crept in. Would she get the answers she sought, or would she be left with more questions? Just as she gathered herself, her father returned, his expression clouded with conflict. The urgency still shone in his eyes, but there was an ache there, too, an understanding of the weight that hung between them. "I'm sorry about that," he said, settling back into the chair, "but we need to talk about what's really going on." Mia felt a shiver run through her. "Okay." She took a steadying breath, pushing away the flood of memories that threatened to overwhelm her. "Why did you leave? Why now?" His gaze dropped, shame hovering like a storm cloud. "I thought it was the best decision, but it wasn't. I see that now. I see how much I hurt you. I can't undo the past, but I need you to know the truth. Tell me," she urged, her voice steady despite the tremor deep within. "All of it." He nodded slowly, and Mia held her breath. "I left because I thought it would protect you and your mother. I thought she would be happier, without me." "Without you?" Mia couldn't bite back the bitterness. "You thought leaving would make things better? You left me to figure life out without a father, and you think that was the right choice?" "I was scared," he finally admitted, running a hand through his hair. "I was overwhelmed. Your mother and I were, well, it was complicated. I thought if I wasn't there to mess things up, you both could create a life without the baggage I had brought." Pain shot through her chest. "Do you know how many birthdays and Christmases I spent wishing for my dad? How could you think that would be better?" "I see that now," he said, his voice thick with regret. "And it tears me apart knowing what I put you through. I wish I could turn back time, but I want to be honest with you. I'm trying to make amends, to reconnect with you both." Mia's throat tightened. "And what does that mean? Starting with 'I'm sorry'?" "I need more than that." He leaned forward, his expression earnest. "I want to understand who you are now. And maybe I want you to know who I am. I have changed." For a moment, the tension between them softened. A flicker of hope ignited in her heart. "You really think you can change? Or is this just another way to avoid the pain?" "I can't undo what I've done, but I can choose differently moving forward. I want to show you that I care, not just with words," he insisted, voice cracking. "But with actions if you'll give me the chance." A silence enveloped them, thick with emotion. The question that hung in the air felt monumental. Could she open her heart enough to let him back in? Was it worth the risk? Just then, Alex slid back into the booth, glancing between them. "Everything okay?" he asked softly. Mia took a deep breath, weighing her emotions. I think so." Her father looked at her with searching eyes. "Mia, I know I've caused you so much pain. I wish I could take it all back. Just give me one chance for us to start over. Can we take those steps together?" Mia blinked back tears, internal walls she had built around her crumbling ever so slightly. "I need time, but maybe we can try." Hope flickered between them, fragile but alive. Just then, her phone buzzed, and she glanced down, surprised to see a text from her mother asking how the meeting was going. A lump formed in her throat as the enormity of her journey pressed down on her. Could they really mend what had been broken for so long? "Do you want to bring your mom in on this?" Alex asked quietly, sensing the depth of the moment. Mia nodded, a surge of courage rising within her. "Yes, I think it's time we talked as a family. All of us." The thought felt both daunting and liberating. They were all wrestling with the ghost of what had been, and maybe it was time to confront it together. Her father's face brightened with cautious hope. "I'd really like that." As they sat there, a connection blossoming in the space where distance had once reigned. Mia felt a small light appear, illuminating the past with possibility. This was just the beginning of a long journey, sure, but it was also the first step toward healing, a chance to rewrite a narrative filled with pain into one of understanding and love, and maybe, just maybe, this could lead her to a place where she felt free. The sunlight streamed through the café window, casting warmth over their table, signaling that the shadows of the past could indeed be illuminated. It was a new day, a chance to choose connection, to mend the threads that bound them together. With that realization, Mia took her father's hand for the first time. "Let us navigate this together," she said softly. As they began to share their truth, the world around them faded, and for the first time in a long while, hope filled the air. Now it was time to heal, not just for themselves but for the family they could still become. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, we're counting on you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And make sure to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and be inspired. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.